Hey guys, just wanted to hop on and say make sure you stay till the end of the video because I'm going to be sharing the details about my first ever channel giveaway at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy. Am I filming? I think I'm filming. Hey guys, welcome to my first ever reading vlog. I'm so excited. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have a good time. Get your popcorn, get your coffee or your tea or your beer or your soda or your water or whatever you drink, and settle in because it's gonna be a good time. So this is my vampire reading vlog. I thought this would be so much fun to do for the month of October. If you didn't watch my October TBR, you're in for so many surprises because I have 6 vampire books that I am planning on reading in the month of October. Now, I have not read a lot of vampire books. I have read Salem's Lot by Stephen King. I have read the first 2 Twilight books by Stephanie Meyer. Sorry, not for me, guys. And that's really it. I've read like the Dresden Files, which has some vampires in it, but I haven't read a lot of like vampire books. And so I thought it would be really fun to go ahead and read a bunch of these and see how I felt about them. So, a little bit about how this is going to work. Like I said, I have 6 books that I'm planning on reading for this vampire reading challenge. Each of them kind of fits into a different like sub-genre of vampire or like horror supernatural fiction, in my opinion. I may be wrong about that, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from each of them. We'll see how that actually works out. And with that, I'm going to be basing this on 2 different scales. So there's going to be the star rating scale, which is just my personal enjoyment of it. So we're going to go with 1 to 5 stars. Obviously, that's how it works typically. And the second thing that I'm going to be judging these books on is what I'm going to call the Fang Scale, I guess. That's what I'm going with in this spur of the moment. So yeah, the Fang Scale, and it's going to be 1 out of 10 fangs on basically just like the vampire's credibility within the book, like how believable it is, how scary it is, I guess, how like convincing of a vampire these characters are. And then at the end, I will crown the king vampire of all of the vampires in the vampire books. Isn't this gonna be fun? I think it's gonna be fun. So, the 6 books that I'm planning on getting to for this vampire reading challenge are Dracula by Bram Stoker, which I'm calling my classic vampire book, obviously. Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, which I'm calling my modern classic vampire book or like my horror vampire book. Dead Until Dark, which is the first Sookie Stackhouse novel, which I'm calling my urban fantasy vampire book. Crave by Tracy Wolfe, which I'm calling my YA vampire book. And then the last 2 books I do not have physical copies of, so I'm just going to go ahead and show their picture on the screen. Those are going to be Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff, which I'm calling my adult fantasy vampire book. And lastly, I thought it'd be great to include an indie vampire book, so my indie vampire book pick is going to be Bloodsucker City by Jim Towns. So, those are the 6 vampire books that I'm planning on reading for this challenge. I'm going to update you guys as I am reading them, just kind of my thoughts and feelings as we're going, and when I finish each book, I'm going to rate them on, you know, how I feel about them, and we're going to go from there. I'll update you guys later when I have started my first book. See you then. Hey guys, please excuse my face. This is the face I was born with, but I also have a cold, so my face is all gross from having blown my nose like a billion times. But I'm on the way to the pharmacy to pick up some medicine for said cold, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on the Dracula audiobook. So I'll update you guys later on how I feel about it, but I'm excited about this one. I think this one could be a 5 stars, maybe. Of the lot, this one is probably the most likely to be a 5 stars, so we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. Good morning, everyone. It is officially October 1st. I have my coffee. It is too early. My son got up at like 6, which is fine. It's not like super early, but I've been sleeping in a lot lately because I'm on paternity leave, and so this is different for me. But I have my coffee, and I'm ready to talk. So I cheated a little bit, and I got started on 2 books yesterday. So those are Dracula. I started the audiobook for this. I got about 30 minutes in, and I have some thoughts.
So it's just kind of strange. Like, I'm enjoying it, don't get me wrong, but it's very strange, like, the fact that Count Dracula is just a character, which obviously he's going to be a character. But he's such an iconic, like, I don't know, like, staple of horror literature and pop culture and things like that, that, like, hearing, like, the person reading a letter and then it's signed Count Dracula, you're like, dude, don't go wherever he's asking you to go, and, like, he's going to Count Dracula's castle or whatever, and, like, everybody's kind of, like, trying to warn him off, and he just goes anyway, and you're like, you're such an idiot, why would you go to Count Dracula's castle? But then, obviously, like, he doesn't know that Count Dracula is a vampire, and so it's just interesting. It's, like, it almost suffers from being too famous and too big, because you already know, like, this guy's no good, and he's described as, like, being super, like, statuesque and almost, like, dead-looking and stuff like that. Like, if this happened in modern day, like, I would like to see a modern retelling of Dracula, because, like, I'd be like, no way, man, I'm out of here. I am not sticking around. You're creepy as heck. So it's just interesting. Second update, my wife and I started reading Crave yesterday by Tracy Wolff. My wife's actually going to be tagging along with me on a lot of these, so I'm really excited to get her thoughts on things as well. I have some thoughts on Crave. So we started reading it aloud, actually the night before last, and we're now 122 pages in, and this book is cringy. Which I knew it was gonna be, but man, it's just something else. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some things about it that I actually am enjoying. Like, the setting's cool. It's set at, like, a prep school in Alaska, and the prep school is, like, in a castle. So that's kind of cool. I like it. I like the descriptions of, like, the Alaskan wilderness, and the castle is really cool sounding. But then it's just ruined by the cringiness of the romance, and, like, every single character in this book is super hot, and, like, it's just so much. It's like Twilight on steroids at times, and I feel like the need to read some lines to you guys, because it is just absurd sometimes, like, the level of, like, ridiculousness. Like, let's see. Okay, so listen to this. This is literally during their first conversation. He's got, like, a scar on his face, and, like, he's kind of, like, pulling back from her, and then she reaches out. It says, I reach out before I make a conscious decision to do so, cup his scarred cheek in my hand. His dark eyes blaze. I think he's going to shove me away, but in the end he doesn't. He just stands there and lets me stroke my thumb back and forth across his cheek, across his scarf for several long moments. And then later it says, like, he doesn't answer. Instead, he closes his eyes, sinks into my palm, takes one long, shuddering breath. Like, come on. Like, they just met, man. So it's just, like, ridiculousness like that, and everybody is super hot, and yada, yada, yada. It's very angsty, very high school. But, you know, I guess this is what I should expect. It's not bad, like I said. Like, I mean, it's bad. But, like, it's 60% bad and 40% interesting. Like I said, the setting's interesting. I'm curious. I guess, like, everybody is, like, a different... like, it's not just vampires. I think there's, like, werewolves and maybe, like, fairies and witches and stuff. I don't really know yet. We're going to find out. But like I said, my wife and I are 123 pages into it right now, and we'll see how it goes from here. This is my son. Side note, I've been trying to get into, like, the fall spirit or whatever, and my wife and I wanted something, like, sweet to snack on the other night, and I picked up this pumpkin spice milk from the market in my town, and it's interesting. It's not bad. I put it in my coffee, and I don't recommend putting it in the coffee, but by itself, it's pretty good. But anyway, that is my update for right now. Working my way through Dracula and Crave. I'll let you guys know later how I'm feeling about those, and I'll see you then.
Okay, so it's October 3rd now. I've made some progress on Dracula and more progress on Crave. I think it's really interesting that I'm reading these two at the same time, because they, of all six that I'm planning on reading, are probably the most different from each other. And it's just crazy because, like, it's weird how much vampires have changed in pop culture, you know, over the past whatever number of years. Because, like, in Dracula, it's really funny because, like, one of the characters gets close to Dracula at one point, and he, like, talks about how he's nauseated by him, or, like, it makes him nauseous being close to him. And then on the opposite side, like, literally every interaction that Grace, the main character of Crave, has with Jackson, the supposed vampire of Crave, they're, like, so close to each other, and she's, like, swooning over him the whole time. And it's just so funny that, like, it's completely different from how people reacted to Dracula in that book. Speaking of Crave, I'm, like, at the 50% mark, and we still have no confirmed vampires, so I'm kind of wondering why I'm reading this. And it's funny because I was kind of, like, I mean, I'm not really enjoying it. Like, it's semi-entertaining, but I was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. But at the same time, it's exactly what I expected. You know, it comes very much like as advertised. It's like very aware of how much like Twilight it is, to the point where like the main character is gifted a copy of Twilight by Jackson, the supposed vampire, and like she's reading it. So like, how aware is Tracy Wolf of the fact that this is just like a knockoff Twilight? Like, was that her intention? I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I'm still kind of enjoying it. I like everything except Jackson, basically. Anytime Jackson's there, I'm just, well, it's just too much. But everything else is, you know, relatively entertaining. So that's where I'm at now. I'll check up with you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, it's the same day, and I went ahead and switched to the audiobook for Crave for a little bit, just because I want to get it over with, to be honest with you. I can listen to it on like 2-speed, and it was available on Scribd or Scribd, or what do you say? Do you say Scribd or Scribd? I don't know. But yeah, I'm listening to it now, and I kind of figured out another thing that's bothering me. So like, it's just over-sexualized. Like, I get that, I guess that's the appeal a little bit. But like, for example, Grace is sitting down with Jackson and his friends, and like, she's super into Jackson, right? So I guess that makes sense that in that instance she would just be so overwhelmed by how attractive he is. But on top of that, she meets his friends, and one of them she describes as having like the hottest hair she's ever seen, or like the hottest dreadlocks I think that she's ever seen. And then she's talking to another one of his friends, and she talks about how he rolls his R's really sexily and stuff like that. And like, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, I don't know, you're over-sexualizing like everything and every character and da-da-da-da-da. So I guess that's irking me, and maybe it's because they're all vampires and that's like their thing, I guess. But I can't handle it, you know? I'm a wuss, I guess. I just can't handle it. But anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to finish this one before anything else. Like, honestly, I just want to get it out of the way. I'm still listening to Dracula, but I'm just ready to get Crave over with and continue on with this challenge. So yeah, that's my update for now. I'll check in later. Hello everyone, and welcome to my nightmare. Why is it my nightmare, you ask? Crave. But I guess it's not my nightmare, because I'm done, son. I'm finished. I'm finished with Crave. It's over, thank God. Oh, guys, this book. Yeah, this book. I don't even know what to say, honestly. So I guess I will let the book speak for itself. This is a dramatic reading of Crave by Tracy Wolf. Only of the parts that made me laugh out loud because of how ridiculous they were. Shall we? I think we shall. So, this first part is early on in the book. They are approaching a castle. It is snowing like crazy outside. Despite all that, she sees a figure in a window in the distance in the top of a tower, and she describes it like so. I don't know who it is or why they even matter, but I stop where I am, watching, waiting, wondering if whoever it is will make another appearance. It isn't long before they do. I can't see clearly. Distance, darkness, and the distorted glass of windows cover up a lot. But I get the impression of a strong jaw, shaggy dark hair, a red jacket against a background of light. Really? Really? Next up. Can I just say, dog-eared pages are really hard to find in deckled-edged books. Like, where did I even mark? Here we have the second meeting of Jackson and Grace. And he's warning her off or something like that. He's very close to her because he's always very close to her. And he says, "You have no idea what I know," he says softly. The warmth of his breath has me gasping, melting, my whole body sagging against his of its own volition. He lets it happen for 1 second, 2, his hands on my waist, his shoulders curving down and into me, and then, just as suddenly, he's gone, stepping back so fast I nearly fall without the support of his body. This one got me good. Okay, so she's texting Jackson, right? And he sent her breakfast of, like, waffles and eggs and tons of stuff, right? Okay. But then they're texting about it, and she's asking what food he likes. He's like, she says, "How about you, waffles or eggs?" Jackson, "Neither. Me. So what do you like to eat?" As soon as I hit send, I realized what a bad idea that last text was and start freaking out because, oh my god, that sounded way more suggestive than I meant it to be. Oh my gosh. Here's another one.
I give Jackson a WTF look, but he's just kind of shaking his head at them. Then he leans in and says, "I'll walk you to class, Grace." He's so close that his breath tickles my ear, sending shivers down my spine that have nothing to do with Alaska and everything to do with the fact that I want this guy. That despite all the warnings and bad behavior, I really do think I'm falling for Jackson Vega. Okay, 2 more just because I can't go on like this forever. Although I really could, because this is all over the place. This one really irked me. So she's talking to Jackson or whatever, and her parents died like right before the beginning of the book. She's really been struggling with it. Of course, her parents were killed in a car accident. It'd be rough. But she's talking to Jackson. He's being all moody and brooding and just so tortured. And he's talking to her about some stuff, and it says, when he finally turns back around to look at me, I can see the pain, the devastation behind the emptiness in his eyes. It makes me ache for him in a way I've never ached for anyone, not even my parents. That's just messed up, man. You just met this guy, like, days ago. And lastly, because this is just, like, too much, man. This is, like, the top of it, I guess. Minor spoilers for what happens. But, I mean, it's self-explanatory. This is gonna happen. So, let's see. For long seconds, he still doesn't say anything. Then he shakes his head, swears, "What am I supposed to say to that, Grace? Say you believe me. Say you know it's not your fault. Say, I love you." I gasped, then let out a slow, shuddering breath, as tears I don't even try to hide bloom in my eyes. Or you could say that. You could very definitely say that. "It's true," he whispers. "I'm so in love with you." "Good, because I'm in love with you too." Blah, 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 blah. And then, more spoilers. And then at the bottom, it's like, "What's going on, Jackson?" He breaks off, shakes his head. "I don't think we can do this, Grace." At his words, the cold King Giles turns my body to ice. "What do you mean?" I whisper. "You just said you love me." "I do love you," he answers forcefully, "but sometimes love isn't enough." That's it. Okay. Other thoughts, just about the book as a whole. There is almost nothing original here. And I think that is what irks me almost as much as, like, the ridiculousness. I mean, it's like a teen romance, so of course it's going to be over the top, it's going to be ridiculous. But there's really nothing, like, original for the most part. Like, all of the story beats are pretty predictable. It's a knockoff Twilight and it knows it. There's even, like, talk of, like, mates or whatever. Like, okay, spoilers or whatever. She loves Jackson, the vampire, but she's not sure if he's her mate. So obviously, like, in the next book, there's going to be a love triangle, and she's not going to be sure who her mate is. I hate the whole mate thing. SJM, I blame you. You're the one who really did all this. But it's just annoying, like, mate this, mate that, mate this. Whatever, man. I can't handle all that. So like I said, there's not a lot of originality here. I will say I did like the setting of Alaska, and I did like the whole castle school thing. But honestly, if you took all that out, the story really wouldn't change all that much. And that's what frustrates me. One other thing really quick. Like, okay, so this is like a high school, right? Where's the supervision? Because, like, people are making out with each other in their rooms at all hours of the night. They are, like, literally one person tried to kill another person, like, attempted murder, and then they're just at class the next day, like, no big deal. Yeah, you just tried to kill your classmate, but it's cool. We don't care. It's just not very believable, you know? It's just not. And Jackson Vega as a vampire, he supposedly has all this power and stuff, but he's very dramatic. Yeah, I mean, he's just so brooding in a way that is just not very believable. It's over the top. Yeah, I didn't love this book. I really didn't. And then on top of that, just the insta-love is, like, whoa, so intense. Like, the most intense insta-love I've ever read. Yeah, it didn't really do it for me at all. So, as far as stars go, I'm gonna give this, like, 1.5. If I'm being really generous, I'd give it 2, just for the setting alone. And, you know, there were moments that were engaging, and there was a little bit of a mysterious aspect to it that I liked. But it was really hard to stomach, you guys. Whew. I made it, though. It's done. Thank God. Vampire, Fang Scale, Jackson Vega gets, like, a 3, I guess, because of his supposed power that you don't even really see. Yeah, not great. As far as the other stuff goes, Dracula's going well. It makes me laugh because, like, it's a completely different vampire feel, and, like, Dracula's, like, lizard crawling everywhere, and it's freaking out the guy who is seeing it, and I think that's hilarious. I'm also reading Bloodsucker City by Jim Towns, and that's going well. I like it. The story itself has me interested, and I think it's actually pretty well written, too, so I'm excited about that. There are definitely some, like, typos and things, but it's an independently published book, and it's an arc, so that'll probably get fixed up at some point, but I'm enjoying that one. I'm glad I'm done with Crave, and I will check in with you guys later.
Hey guys, I've got a little bit of time today. My son is at my mother-in-law's and my daughter's sleeping, and so I thought I would just stop at Half Price Books real quick and look around. I'm really excited about it. I love going to this bookstore. It's a nice way for me to relax. Even if I don't buy anything, I just love looking around. And so I'm gonna listen to Dracula and look at books, and it's gonna be a good time. So I didn't end up getting much. I did get one book, but I said no to a lot of things. I'm not really big on buying new releases just because they're really expensive and I can get them on Scribd or my library or whatever, but I picked up a copy of Bluebeard by Kurt Vonnegut. I've only ever read Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut, and it's been years, so I've been wanting to try his stuff again. So I picked that up, and Dracula is going well, by the way. I am very much enjoying it. There was one part I was listening to, and I actually got chills while I was walking around the bookstore. This is really good. I'm enjoying it. I'll check up with you guys later. Also, I decided to stop at a little free library, and they got some good stuff. Well, they've got like one or two good things. Okay, so like I said earlier, Dracula is off to a super strong start. I'm actually about a quarter of the way through now, and I am loving it so much. The whole first part with Jonathan's journals, I thought it was super gripping from the very start, and yeah, it was just really good. I thought Dracula was like super creepy, and I didn't really know how it was going to go since this book was written, you know, so long ago, and there have been so many more advancements in like horror literature as far as like how like gritty and gross and out there they will get, that I didn't really know how like chilling this book would actually be. But it really is. Just the way that Dracula is described is really creepy, and things like that. There were a lot of creepy scenes there, with like the women that were like all haunted looking and pale and stuff. They were really creepy. When it got to the part where it was talking about all of Lucy's suitors and stuff, and the one that she really wanted to marry, I thought for a second that it might be Dracula. Like maybe somehow he had killed Jonathan, drank all his blood, and now is like super youthful and stuff, and then he'd gone back and like was in society or whatever and had gotten her to marry him, but I guess it wasn't. But still, I thought that's where it was going. I'm really excited to see where it goes from here, and I'll check in later. Hey guys, sorry for this crappy lighting. It is night. I am in my car. I'm about to go to my brother's and play Super Smash Brothers. My main is Young Link, by the way. I'm not very good, but I have a good time. But anyway, I wanted to update you on Bloodsucker City. So I am about a third of the way through, and I'm liking it. It's a little bit, like, cartoonish, I guess. I don't know, some of the characters are, and it was bothering me at first, but then I went back and I looked at the description, and apparently it's set in, like, the 1920s or 1930s. So I guess maybe some of the dialogue makes a little bit more sense now. But at the same time, like, it's a little bit strange. Like, this woman is arrested because they think she killed her child, and the person who's interrogating her, the police officer, like, beats her up, like, punches her in the stomach, punches her in the face, and all this stuff. And I just don't think you could do that. I mean, maybe you could back then, I don't know, but I didn't think so. But that's a little bit strange, and the dialogue's a little bit unbelievable. But other than that, like, it's pretty good. It starts off with a bang, and it doesn't let up from there. It's pretty short, but I'm enjoying it. It's apparently, like, female Shawshank Redemption with vampires. The vampires haven't actually been confirmed as vampires yet, but it's very hinted at so far, and I'm enjoying it. So, yeah, I'll update you guys later on that, but I'm gonna go play some Smash. I'm leaving my brother's apartment. I lost Smash pretty bad, but it's okay. I had a good time. Are you guys seeing these apartments? Look at this. There's fire. There's fire. Clearly I don't belong here. There's zip ties holding my bumper together. They're gonna come arrest me or something. I gotta get out of here. I'm just trying to take a cool bookstagram photo, and Cece doesn't care at all. Cece, can't you see you're getting in the way of progress? Still doesn't care. Side note, today is October 5th, and Dracula is boring me. It's good. It's just too long. Should have been shorter. It's like 19 and a half hours long. I'm still enjoying it. I'm like at the halfway point, but I'm having a hard time like staying committed to it, I guess. Like the parts that are creepy as heck, but then it's just like nothingness for a long time, and then it's creepy again, and then nothingness for a long time, and then it's creepy again. So I'll get through it. It'll be fine. Hey guys, I am working on cleaning up my garage right now and listening to Dracula, and I just had to pause because I got to this part in Dracula. I'm like 70% of the way through. I'll probably finish it today. But I just got to this part where there's like a billion rats crawling over the place, and like I have a thing with rats. Like I can do snakes, that's fine. Snakes are fine, spiders is whatever. But rats just gross me the heck out. And so I'm listening to this part with all these rats, and so I'm already like, ugh. And then like there's rat droppings in my garage, and so I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's fine. Dracula's going well. Other than that, I'm enjoying where I'm at. Yeah, so I'll let you know, but I'll definitely finish that today. Hopefully I'll finish Bloodsucker City too, and I'll share my thoughts of that once I'm done. It's so short, I just want to kind of wrap all my thoughts up at once, so I'll see you then. Okay, it is now Friday morning. The date is October 8th, and I have finished my second book. I didn't actually finish it until this morning. I thought I was going to finish it last night, but I was not quite able to because I was tired, man. I was exhausted. But I have thoughts. So I liked Dracula, but I did not love it as much as I thought I was going to, which is a disappointment, you know. I mean, I really did think this one could be a 5 stars, and if it had been shorter, it could have been. Maybe not. So let me talk about what I liked. So I really liked Dracula. Obviously, Dracula as a character is amazing. There is a reason that he has endured the test of time, that he is such an icon in pop culture. And it's because he's amazing. I mean, he's terrifying. He's so well designed. Just like the way he looks and things like that is really creepy. But also just like his character is really unsettling in the way that he interacts with the other characters. He very much has like a sense of entitlement, I guess. I don't know. Like he's powerful and he knows it. And he just orchestrates these situations in a way that makes sure that he's always in control. And it's very unsettling. That being said, Dracula wasn't actually, like, on page as much as I thought he was going to be. I guess I didn't really know what I expected going in, but it wasn't quite this. So this book definitely focuses more on, like, the other characters, and I guess that makes sense because it's told in, like, diary entries, so it makes sense that their perspective would be primarily what you get. But I wanted Dracula to be at the heart of this novel a little bit more. I mean, he's in the title, and he's, like, the character that has endured the test of time. Although, Van Helsing also is a very big character. Speaking of characters, what is with all of the female characters and in their diaries just being like, thank God for helpful men, thank God for strong men, blah, 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 blah. We get it. I mean, it was just a little bit dated, for sure. I mean, they just keep going on and on about how great all men are and blah, blah, blah. I just thought it was a bit much. Because, like, they say, like, 6 times or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I guess, yeah, if it had been shorter and Dracula had actually been on page more, I think this could have been a 5 star. But it was just kind of boring at times, like, especially near the end. The beginning was super gripping. Like, all that stuff with Jonathan, I thought he wasn't going to make it. And all of that, it was really gripping. And even the stuff afterwards with Mina and her cousin, is it Lucy? I think her name was Lucy. All of that was really gripping, too. Around the middle, it started to lag. And then, like, at the end especially, because, like, the whole thing is they're going to go confront Dracula in this big final confrontation or whatever and try and kill him. But, like, literally the last, like, 3.5, 4 hours of the audiobook is just them, like, traveling to Transylvania to go to Dracula's castle. And it's like, surely this could have been trimmed a little bit because, like, there are multiple diary entries that are just like, we traveled more today. We did more traveling. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I just felt like that was a little bit tedious. I didn't think it was really necessary. And then the final confrontation with Dracula was okay. I mean, it was like, for its time, I suppose it was good. But I guess I would have just liked a little bit more of an intensity to the climax of the story. It was good. It was good. But it wasn't great. So for Dracula, star-wise, I think I'm going to go with 3.5. Maybe 4. We'll see how my thoughts settle over the coming days. So I may adjust it with my final ranking, but for now I'm thinking a 3.5 star. For Dracula as a vampire, I mean, I have to give him 10, right? I think I do. I think I have to give him 10 stars, or 10 fangs, because he's Dracula. I mean, like, a lot of these characters wouldn't exist without Dracula. And like I said earlier, I just love the way that people don't like Dracula in the story. Like, they're totally unsettled by him. They're uncomfortable being around him. Because this is how vampires should have been, man. This is what they were intended to be. But who cares? So those are my thoughts on Dracula. I'm going to go ahead and try to finish Bloodsucker City today as well. I'm not sure if I will, just because I kind of have a lot of stuff going on. My wife and I are going to maybe go see a movie. And we're going to have friends over later tonight. So I'm not sure if I'll actually get to it. But that's the goal. If not, I'll finish it tomorrow and I'll update you then. Thanks, guys. Cheers, everyone. I have finished my third book, which means I am now halfway through the Vampire Reading Challenge. I'm so excited about this. I'm also so excited about this. Shiner's Oktoberfest is top-notch. So good. Speaking of so good, Bloodsucker City by Jim Towns was impressive. I had a really good time with it, actually. I had a better time with Bloodsucker City than I have with any of the other books that I picked up so far, which is really great because it was an independent book and I really didn't know a lot about it going into it, so I really had no idea what to expect. I'd seen like one good review on Goodreads, but it didn't have a lot of reviews and I just didn't know really what it was about, but I just picked it up on a whim because I wanted to include an independent book, and it was really like surprising how much I enjoyed it. So I'm not sure how well I've described what it's about before now, but it follows a woman named Lena who at the start, she comes home from work and finds that her son is dead on the floor. He has been like drained of his blood and stuff like that, and she just like goes catatonic when she finds him, and then the police come and they arrest her, and it's awful, and they basically just immediately assume that she's the person who killed her son, which that was the only unbelievable part, but I guess it kind of plays into the story, like why everything went that way, went so quickly and everything, but they just right away like assume that she killed her son, and like less than 2 weeks later she's in this prison, which I believe is called Steelgate. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, she's in this women's prison facility, and the story is set in the 1920s, and it revolves around just her time in jail, and essentially the wardens of this prison are vampires, and they feed upon these women anytime that they like do anything bad. They're sent into solitary, which is where they end up being fed upon, and it's just crazy. But this book was like, of all of them, it was definitely like the most gross. Like there was one moment kind of near the end where I didn't know if the author was going to go there, but he really went there, and it was disgusting. And it was also really violent, which I didn't see coming, and it was just really engaging. One thing that I really loved about Bloodsucker City is that it was a novella, but it easily could have been a novel. Like, I read Crave and I read Dracula, and both of them, no offense to Dracula because I know it's a classic, but they both felt too long. They both felt like they could have been trimmed down. But the opposite is the case with Bloodsucker City. I think it really easily could have been a whole novel, but Jim Towns was really deliberate about just trimming everything down, and everything felt so purposeful, and it all felt very important. And so the story really flew by just because it wasn't long. He just was really, like, every page counted. You know, every page progressed the plot or the characters or things like that. And so while I would have enjoyed more, he could have done it and I would have been happy. I really enjoyed the fact that it was just a very concise story, and it was very sharp, it was very quick, and it was great. I had a really great time with it. Like I said, the action was good. The writing was really surprising as well. You never really know what you're going to get with indie authors and independently published books, but I was really impressed. I mentioned earlier that I thought some of the characters were kind of cartoonish just because of some of the dialogue, but that was before I remembered the fact that it's set in the 1920s, and so I guess with that, and like just kind of the weird procedural things with like how the whole police stuff went down, like I feel a little bit appeased by that. One, because of the time period, and also just because of the whole situation that you find out about through the book. It makes a little bit more sense to me, so I feel really good about it. Yeah, I highly recommend this book by Jim Towns. I'm really excited about looking into some of the other short fiction that he's published, and I'd love to read a full-length novel by him. I think he was fantastic. He did a great job, so I will definitely be keeping my eye on him as an author. So for Bloodsucker City, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So for the novella itself, I'm going to go ahead and give it, honestly, for what it was, I think it was fantastic. So I'm going to give it like 4.5 stars, I think. I had a really great time with it. So yeah, 4.5 stars for Bloodsucker City by Jim Towns. For the wardens themselves, I thought that they were a very ominous presence in the book, and so I enjoyed that. My only issue is, and this is, I don't want to get into spoilers too much, but some of the action sequences with the protagonists versus the wardens and things like that, I didn't think that they were as formidable as they originally seemed in some instances. Not all instances, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I would have liked to have seen them be a little bit more powerful, seen a little bit more of their power, I guess. So for the vampires themselves, I'm feeling more positive than negative, so I'm going to give them 7. Yeah, I'm going to go with 7 fangs for now. That may adjust by the end, but I'm going to give the Wardens of Steelgate Prison 7 fangs out of 10 on the Vampire Fang Scale. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the vlog off here. I was hoping to get all of it in one video, but considering the fact that I've only finished 3 books and this video is probably over a half hour long already, I'm going to cut it off here. So just to recap for part 1 of the vampire reading vlog, I first read Crave by Tracy Wolff. I gave it 2 stars. I'm going to settle with 2 stars. And Jackson Vega, the vampire in Crave, gets 3 out of 10 fangs. Next, I read Dracula by Bram Stoker. The novel Dracula, for me, gets 3.5 stars out of 5, but Dracula gets 10 out of 10 fangs on the Fang Scale. And lastly, I read Bloodsucker City by Jim Towns, which is going to get 4.5 stars from me, and the Wardens of Steelgate Prison are going to get 7 out of 10 fangs on the Fang Scale. Okay, so part 2 of this vampire reading vlog will be up the last week of October. I'm going to have all of my thoughts on the final 3 books that I have yet to read, those being Dead Until Dark by Charlene Harris, Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, and Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. All of my thoughts and feelings and ramblings about those 3 books will be up the last week of October. Alright, now I am so excited to share the details of my first ever giveaway on the channel. One lucky subscriber is going to get their choice between one of any of the books that I am reading in this video. So you can choose between Dracula, you can choose between Crave, or Interview with the Vampire, or Dead Until Dark, or Empire of the Vampire, or Bloodsucker City. You get to pick one of those books, and I will send it to your home through Amazon or Book Depository. Now, this giveaway is not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with any of these authors or publishers or YouTube or anything like that. It's just me. I'm here to buy you a book that I enjoyed or maybe didn't enjoy. Like, if you want to read Crave, that's on you. But, yeah, so all you have to do to enter the giveaway is comment down below 2 things. 1, which vampire book you would like to receive, and 2, what your favorite vampire story is. If you'd like to have an extra entry in the giveaway, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I am at Ian the Reader on there as well, and I'll be making a post about this giveaway, and all you have to do to get the extra entry is share that post on your story, and you will have an extra entry in the giveaway. So like I said, just one comment down below with which book you'd like to receive and your favorite vampire story, and then an extra entry is available on Instagram. Now, I will be picking the winner at random based on all of the entries, and I will be announcing that winner in the second half of this reading vlog. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. You can hit notifications if you want to. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday. But yeah, make sure you are subscribed. That way you don't miss the announcement of who wins the giveaway, because that is going to be in the second half of this reading vlog that will be up in the last week of October. Forgot to mention that the cutoff day for entries in this giveaway is going to be Sunday, October 24th. So make sure you leave your comments by then and share it on Instagram by then, because after that I have to pick a winner and put it in the vlog part 2. The full rules for this giveaway are going to be in the description of this video though, so check down there if you have any questions. But that's it for part 1 of my vampire reading vlog. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I've had such a blast sharing all my thoughts and opinions with you. Please leave your thoughts. If you've read any of these books, I would love to hear what you guys thought of them in the comments below. Thank you again so much for watching. Don't be a stranger, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!